Welcome back. Now let's talk about educational development. Now we'll talk about tertiary education in Nigeria. How can we bring it to that level where it can compete anywhere in the world?
Issues of scholarships.
Yes.
You know, growing up, we see he won a scholarship, he went through school based on a scholarship, and then he was able to, he came from a poor home, but look at him, he's great today because of a scholarship. That's a part
okay, so we'll be talking more about
school.
Oh yeah. There's still room for learning, yes.
Even at the 100.
Now we'll be talking about King's University, which is in Odeumu. No, I shouldn't ask you whether I got it right.
Yummy.
In Odeumu, yes. And so we'll be talking about the King's University scholarship in Osun State. Scholarships, and let me not tell you more. Let me say we have in the house the senior pastor of Kingsway International Christian Center, Pastor Matthew Ashimolo. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
My privilege. Thank you very much.
It's nice to have you here.
It's an honor.
Not just see you on the TV.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we're talking educational development.
All right.
In Nigeria, how do you see the educational sector?
Well, with hindsight, having lived in Nigeria before I left to go start our church in the United Kingdom, and having been through the educational system and looking at what's happening today, I think there is, in my opinion, a breakdown of the system, and it needs to be fixed. Part of the issues we face today has been because we've had a mishmash of governmental systems. You go from civilian to military, from military back to civilian, and then people's aspirations was raised by being told, look, okay, the government will pay for your education. As a result, federal universities, which people pay very little, have a breakdown in their facilities, in their capacity, and in my opinion, I think the best thing would have been for the government to say, okay, we will offer bursary to all students. Come and take the money and go shop for your own university. That way, every university will compete. The nations we said we copy no longer do free university provided by government. Britain doesn't do it. America doesn't do it. Rather, you might be able to access resource either by way of bursary, scholarships, trust funds, with which you can go look for the university, and not for you to just be desperate to enter the one that is cheap.
So the idea of the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board setting an exam for all universities shouldn't be?
The joint admissions could still exist as it is in England right now. There is UCAS in England, which gives you the various universities that will consider you based on your results. But the university haven't considered you, you still have to pay your school fee. So there can't be JAM. JAM does not provide a platform for the payment of the school fee. What makes the provision is the fact that the federal government is responsible for all federal universities' salary. So as a result, there is no competitive spirit, in my opinion.
Why then do you think there's been this resistance to giving the universities autonomy? Because several times they've had the academic staff unions go on strike because they were asking for autonomy, and the government refuses.
I'm not very sure if they really are asking for autonomy, because the day they ask for full autonomy, the autonomy they're asking for is the right to determine their own destiny, but for somebody to pay. And that cannot work. I cannot pay your salary, put food on your table, fix your infrastructure, and at the same time you say I have no voice. Full autonomy should be that University of Lagos, OAU in Ife, ABU in Zaria, NNU in Nsukka should raise their own funds, like all universities do abroad today. Harvard raises billions through even just lectures he does on the sides. If you want autonomy should include the fact that you also are the ones raising your own funds. That way you'll be competitive. You'll be the one to be able to attract the student because of the facility you provide, the quality of education you provide, and you also know that you are determining your own destiny. If your standard is not good, students wouldn't come.
Okay. Let's come
well,
back
he's had to answer these questions because he's into...
I was coming to that.
You should tell us about
the role of citizens who have seen the two sides. You've seen the Nigeria before.
Yes.
And you have seen the Nigeria now.
Yes.
You've seen the United Kingdom as
Yes.
it is now,
Yes.
before and now.
Yes.
You've
Yes.
seen the US as it is now.
Yes.
So what role can the individuals who have a dream for the future, especially, a dream for the younger Nigerians, what role can they play to ensure that the educational sector, I mean, the Nigerian youth is prepared for the 21st century?
First of all, industry needs to change its overemphasis on degrees. I know that, okay, we are starting a university and we are intending to award degrees. However, part of the challenge of Africa, particularly Nigeria, is the emphasis on degrees. Matter of fact, at the time we were growing, and even when we were already adults, there were these middle tertiary institutions which were called trade centers. That was where people went if they wanted to just have city and guilds in building technology, in plumbing, in civil engineering, and for some reason it is either de-emphasized, and in some cases some of the trade centers no longer exist. In fact, as a result, if you go to a place like Ghana, if you see the finishing on a building, it's usually absolute first class, because the middle schools were never de-emphasized or removed. I think we need to reach a place in Nigeria where we need to just face the fact. Not everybody would go to a university. Not everybody would need to acquire university education. And because you don't have 5 credits to go to a university does not mean that you are not good. In fact, if you really look into the world of business, the average business person who is a building contractor, a plumber, a welder, makes more money through business than the guy who has a degree than a white-collar job. In fact, the fastest, best, and easiest way to make quality or good money is for you to acquire skills. So Nigeria needs to, number 1, de-emphasize this degree thing. Number 2, bring in practical courses. Number 3, emphasize our institutes of technical education, because at a point, even the oil and gas industry had to be going to the Philippines to get specialized plumbers.